Hi, y'all tonight. This is Natasha, and I just wanted to tell my story, my testimony, one of my testimonies. A few years ago, back in 2016, it was maybe around April, I was working a job that I didn't care for too much. Granted, it was a job and it paid the bills, but I wasn't happy where I was. I'd been putting in applications and I'd gone on a couple of interviews, and I just had been praying, for God to deliver me from the situation where I was on my job at the time. One night I went to Bible study on Wednesday night, and I heard Bishop talking about the importance of paying your tithes. And this is something I must admit that I never took seriously. I would pay a little bit here or there sparingly, and it was not consistent. But that particular night, something convicted me and said, you know what? And I said, I need to do better. Gotta start paying my tithes, doing better about that. So I left church that night with the full intent and determination that I was going to do better. And I got on John Rogers heading home, and when I was driving, the devil started speaking to me. Don't worry about tithing. Now it's when you be your first fruits, or just wait until you get paid again. Every situation or every excuse he could come up with, he put it in my head. And just as before I'd even gotten a mile from the church, I was literally on John Rogers Drive. I got home that night, and about 9:30 or so, I made the decision, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to line up in obedience, and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to trust God to take care of the rest. I went on ahead, paid my full 10%. I did the text to tithe, paid my full 10%, and left it alone. That was between 9:30 and 9:40 that particular night. The very next morning, around 9:32, 9:33 that morning, I got a phone call with a job offer. And it was one of the places where I'd interviewed, and I was like, oh my gosh, 12 hours, and look at what God did in just 12 hours of me lining up in obedience. So of course I happily took it, and was getting ready to work on my letter of resignation, of course, from my job at the time. And a few short hours later, it literally was the same day, I got a second job offer from another place that I was very excited about, because that was the job that I was really the most interested in. But both of them were great opportunities for me. And that was the one I wanted the most. And I did try for a while to work both of them, because thankfully they were at different times than I was able to. But of course, the body tells on you after a while, and I couldn't continue to do that for very long. And that was not in God's plan. So I made a choice, and I chose the job where I am currently, the same employer that I'm with currently. And I let the other one go. I resigned from there. And fast forward a couple of months, I get a letter in the mail from my previous employer, where I'd been, it had been 11 years since I'd left there. And I got a letter from them asking about an old pension that I never paid into. My employer paid into the pension, and we never had to. And once you'd been there for 5 years, you were considered as vested. I was making sure I understood the letter right, so I told my mom, I was like, can you read this and tell me what it says to you? And she looked at it and she read it, and she said, it looks like they're going to send you a check for $14,000. I said, yeah, that's what I'm seeing too. So, of course, I readily took it. I readily said, sure, please send it to me. They sent me the check, and it was, of course, a little over $11,000 minus taxes and such. I tithed on that, Then after that, fast forward another year, no, actually only a few more months later, after I've been at my current job for about 11 months, I was promoted to a position that allowed me to utilize my master's degree. I love what I do. I enjoy what I do. I work with some great people, and I enjoy my job. Most importantly, I'm happy on my job, and God really he just blessed me in ways that people just could not even imagine. And on top of all of that, he blessed me to be able to open my business and get that off of the ground. It's been a bit of a struggle, but I'm believing him, and I tithe on what I get for that too. So anything that I get, any increase, I'm tithing on it, and that includes my business, because my business is controlled by God. He's first. He's all the way around it. So I just wanted to give my small testimony about something that made a huge difference when I started lining up with what God wanted me to do. This may not be your journey. This may not be the same result for you, but your result may be even better than mine. So I just wanted to say just the importance of paying tithes, the importance of lining up in obedience with what God says we're to do. And the rest of it, he fixes it. If we are obedient, he works the rest out. But we got to trust him. So this is just my testimony. You all have a wonderful day. Thanks.